Hi there, Meekachii here. It is going to be my, Today we're going to be doing my end of year wrap up slash TBR for next year for January. I was able to read 5 books in December, which isn't that great, but for being in school most of the month, I'll take it. It wasn't that bad. I'm just jumping right into it. The first book I finished was This Mortal Coil by Emily Suvada. If you didn't watch, we did a full live stream spoilery talk on this book. Quite a few people actually showed up. It was really fun. I'll talk later in the video. We have another live stream coming out, actually 2, for other book club books if you want to join those. There's a whole video on that as well, but this book, I ended up giving it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Originally I gave it a 4, and then after talking about it in the live stream, I pretty much decided that I was giving it a 3.5 out of 5. It was still really enjoyable. I really want to finish like the series. I don't know how many books it's going to be, but it's definitely not over. Some of the main characters were kind of annoying to me. There were some scientific-y, is that a word? Maybe. It's a word now. Basically, there were some fake science things in this book that I had issues with. There were a couple of issues that not only myself, but the other people on the live stream had issues with. Some of the plot twists in the book and the way they explain certain things. But overall, I mean, I remember finishing it and being like, that was pretty darn good. I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed myself while reading it, so I definitely recommend it if you guys like fake science-y gene hacking slash post-apocalyptic world type books. It's pretty good. Then I picked up Being Fishkill by Ruth Lehrer. I don't know how to say this. I had no idea what this was going into it. And to be quite honest, until about the last 50 pages, I was probably going to rate this a 3 out of 5 stars. I ended up rating it 4 out of 5. It is a total contemporary YA book. I mean, the main character is a young girl, and she's very tough because she lives a very tough life. And it's basically a story about her growing up in a terrible situation and kind of getting out of it, but not fully. And then there's love and loss, and there's a whole lot of emotions toward the end of the book. But to get there, I had to read a bunch of stuff that I didn't particularly care about, and I felt like there were some things that were way too repetitive. But the ending did make this book for me. I mean, it is a very contemporary YA type book, so if you like those types of books, you'll probably really enjoy this. I wanted to read it because I had gotten an ARC copy of it, and it had already come out, and I was like, ugh, I probably should read this. I wasn't really in the mood for contemporary, so that might have been why for most of the story I gave it a 3 out of 5, and then at the end I bumped it up to a 4. I'm standing solid with my rating. I think it is a pretty good book, and it's definitely a good young adult contemporary if you like those things. And as you guys probably guessed what this book was, I finally finished Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I liked this book a lot. I would say I liked Six of Crows a little bit better. I don't know what the general consensus is on that, if most people like that one better or not. The thing that makes this book, by far, is the world that the author creates and the characters. She has such great character development. Each of these characters has very unique personalities. They're very, well developed. They have, I mean, you can think about a character and kind of know what path they would take as a character, depending on what's happening to them based on the writing, which is fantastic. I am all about character-driven books, and even if the story and the plot itself isn't great, if there is fantastic character development, I'm all about a book. I think I ended up giving this, let me see. I put 4 out of 5 on Goodreads, but I have it written as a 4.5 out of 5, and I agree. I think that's the exact same rating I gave to Six of Crows. I feel like the overall plot to Six of Crows was better. I found myself a little confused as to what was going on with the plot in this book at points, and I understand, I get it. I get the story now, but to me, Six of Crows was way more epic, and this one I feel is a 4.5 out of 5, but it's mostly because of the character development and not really because of the plot, if that makes sense. These 2 books are very hyped up, but I do agree that they are fantastic, and if you like fantasy young adult, you'll probably really like these. Then I picked up The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, and I ended up giving this, I rated it a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads, but I wrote down below that I gave it a 3.75. I'm okay with that rating. Now, I will say that I've never read anything by Holly Black. I own one book by her, but I haven't read it. And I was given this, it's an advanced copy, obviously. This isn't going to be the cover for it. But this comes out early next year. I would say next year. Next year starts tonight, technically. And by the time you guys see this, it'll already be next year. But this comes out very soon, and I did enjoy it a lot. I feel like the world itself, like the Fae world, really wasn't that unique, and I've come across that same type of fairy world in a bunch of other novels, and a lot of the same rules applied to other fairy worlds, which isn't necessarily bad. I feel like the character development was pretty good. It wasn't, like, fantastic. The Cruel Prince is based off of one character. He is a pretty major character in the book, but you are following a young woman who's, I think, 17, who is human but living in the fairy world. She was brought there when she was really young and raised there, and she kind of is in this weird place where she's in this world where she mentally belongs but doesn't really belong because they don't really accept her. So that being said, I really feel that once again, I feel like this is a common theme this month, but once again, the ending really made this book for me. You don't really know what's going to happen, but the character herself knows what's going to happen. She's building up to this big ending that she has created in her mind, and I really liked the way it panned out, and I really enjoyed how it ended. And I'm definitely going to continue reading once the next book comes out. I don't know, again, if this is going to be a trilogy or what have you, but I really enjoyed it, and I think that if you like young adult fantasy, and if you like things based in the fairy realm, fairy world, then you'll probably enjoy it. The last book that I finished this year is Retribution Rails. That word, for some reason, is really hard for me to say. Retribution Rails by Erin Bowman. This is the second book. They're not really a series because you can read this without reading Vengeance Road, but there are characters from Vengeance Road in this, and there are throwbacks to things that happen in that book. This is set 10 years after the events of Vengeance Road, and I really enjoyed this book. I think I actually liked it better than Vengeance Road. The two main characters, you follow a guy named Reese and a girl named Charlotte. She is this young woman in the era where, like, women don't really have real jobs and they never, like, are independent, and she wants to be a writer for a newspaper. And then you have Reese, who is actually one of the Rose Riders, which is like the major bad cowboy gang from the first book. They are back in this book, and he is in that gang. So it's kind of like how those two get together and form this, like, friendship, and what happens. You come across the two main characters from the first novel. I really liked the main characters in this book. I felt like there was some really good character development. I had my doubts in the beginning as to how these two characters would connect in any sort of way, but it worked out really well, and I feel like if you like Westerns of any way, shape, or form, you'll really enjoy this, because I don't really like Westerns per se, but this series for some reason really draws me in, and I feel like it's done really well. To where anyone could really read it and enjoy it because they're good.
Got 'em.
But anyway, so I definitely recommend this if you like young adult and if you like Westerns at all. Or if you don't like Westerns, if you just like adventurous stories with a lot of action, a lot of action, you'll like it. So those are the books that I actually finished. I'm about halfway through this book, Gunslinger Girl by Lindsay Ely, which you would think is another Western, but it is really not at all. It's actually kind of in a post-apocalyptic world. It's our future. It's like in the United States in the future after like a second civil war, and how communities have been built, and like none of these communities are similar. So this girl is from a commune, but she ends up leaving that commune and ends up in this town where the real main government doesn't really govern in that town. I don't want to give too much away, but it's really not at all what I thought it was going to be. I did go into it not really knowing much, and I am only halfway through, so I really don't know what I'm going to rate this yet. It really all depends on the ending. So I do plan on picking up Beneath the Sugar Sky as soon as I'm done with this one. That one comes out this month. I happen to get an ARC copy of that, so I do want to finish it pretty quickly. It's a super short book, so I'm sure I will be able to. I also want to pick up The Hazelwood. Can't remember who wrote it in the books downstairs, but it's going to be a popular book. That one comes out the end of January. But I also have to pick up, not have to, but really want to. Well, I kind of have to. But anyway, I'm going to be picking up The Summer That Melted Everything by Tiffany McDaniel. During our live stream, we voted on some books. We decided that for the month of January, we're going to be doing 2 live streams for the book club. So if you want to read this book and join that live stream is going to be January 13th. It's a Saturday at 2 p.m. This book is basically about a 13-year-old boy that moves to this town in Ohio, and he claims that he's the devil. Nobody really believes him at first, but then this super crazy heat wave moves in as soon as he does, and then people start doing nutty things, and they don't know if it's because of the heat wave or because this kid actually is the devil. And apparently it just gets crazy, and it just sounds like a really unique and interesting read, so I did vote for this book, but we chose collectively that we were going to read this one for the January 13th live stream. So if you guys want to join in on that. I do feel like the last live stream went really well. We had a lot of fun with it, and we'll leave a link for you if you want to check out that live stream, but it is full of spoilers. If you have not read This Mortal Coil, don't check it out yet. But we'll leave it up in the future if you guys want to check it out. We're also going to be reading An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. This one we're going to be doing the live stream on January 27th, which is also a Saturday at 2 p.m. So if you want to pick up this book and read it, feel free to join the live stream. Everyone's welcome. You know, I call it a book club, but you know, it's not like a specific group of people. Anyone that wants to read this book or either of these books and join the live stream, feel free to do so. This book is another fairy type book, but it's about a girl who paints this painting that's not really accepted well, and it's of a prince, so he is kind of in this position where this painting that she creates could cause issues for him, so he takes her into the fairy realm and actually puts her on trial because of this painting. That's all I really know about it, and really all I want to know about it. I've heard mixed things about this book, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because sometimes I love books that have mixed ratings, so if you guys want to join that, feel free. I think, as of right now, that's all the books I have planned to read in January. Let me know down below what you guys plan on reading this year, this upcoming year, or this upcoming month. Let me know also what you read in 2017, if there was anything that you particularly loved. If you think that I should read, leave it in the comment down below. So in case you guys haven't noticed, we are doing 2 big giveaways for January this year. We will put links up for them. Check those out if you're interested. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked it. Hit that bell down below if you want to be notified when we come out with new videos. And I will see you next time.